Okay, we are back for a short stream. Uh, we're on the cusp of getting a number of bits of science research done that we want, but on the cusp is the important thing. So we're in this tier where we need 45 science to unlock each thing. We've got 3 or 4 of them to go. So after Longingly Awful Trip 1, where we got into space, we were able to unlock the materials science bay and the science canister. But the problem is we can't yet take tourists into space. We need more science. We need to get our solar panels out onto the ship. We need to get a control capsule that can hold 2 Kerbals. Or we need a control capsule that can hold 1, and we need a command core. Now we could do that here. We've got the stay put Nick, so we could put a stay put Nick on top of our Mark 1. That would work. But I'd really rather have the 2-person spherical capsule. So we're going to grind some science really quick. To do that, I've installed an add-on called X Science, which provides this handy dandy little checklist that shows all of the possible science and how much we've done. So for instance, here, crew report while landed in Kerbal's northern ice shelf, potentially 1.5 science, of which we have 0. That's really cool. But what's even cooler is that's all unlocked experiments. And we can filter it down to experiments on this vessel or even experiments available right now. Let's see how that works. We're going to fly this and use this checklist to help guide us as to when to pick up science. And we're going to fly with the scientist so that we can hop out to do an EVA and reset the materials bay. Once you use the materials bay or the goo container, you can transfer the science out of them, but you can't use them again unless a scientist is handy to reset it. So we're flying our scientist up there, and every time we use it, he has to get out and reset it before we can use it again. Now inside, rather than use the cargo bay, I have packed the goo and the barometer and thermometer inside the material science bay, because there's a whole lot of space in there. And yes, that's clipping the part in, but on the other hand, there's a lot of airspace in there, and I am perfectly okay with that. The alternative was keeping a science bay and extending our stack. The other thing I've noted, just in passing, when it comes to design of a rocket, I was always, oh come on, build. See, you've got oh come on. You've got a bit of a rocket, you've got a heat shield there. And normally if you clip on that's what you get. So separator gets this big ugly ring around it, but it turns out that if you move it up a little bit, you get rid of the ugly ring. And it still works. Now I believe it's actually clipped onto the thing above it. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe there's a second attachment node there in the heat shield. Either way, that's a much better looking stack. So we've got our scientist, we've got our science checklist going. Let's fly this puppy. Now before we actually take off, mousing in to find, well, let's start off with doing some science here. So materials study gets us quite a lot of science, and we're going to have to repeat this because we only get like 75% of the science each time, even if we carry it back. Now I need to be able to go in here and pick out the containment unit and the barometer and the thermometer. Get those pinned so I don't have to keep trying to clip into the rocket to do this. So Science Junior, and let's get the sizing on the windows. The windows get a little bigger when they've got data. And barometer. Some of these have no science on them at all, but because of the way we're doing things, I can store that without any problem. I didn't remember that. So with X Science, there's also a Here and Now window, which will show you buttons for the science you can do. Well, that's pretty cool. So when there's science to do, you can stop time warp, you can make a sound, and you can show the results window. Well, that's ultra cool. It's not completely automating it, which, yeah. At one point there was an add-on where literally as you flew, it would run experiments, it would transfer the results out, it would fix them if you had a scientist and so on, all automatically, and you never even looked at it. The experiments ran themselves. There's something to be said for that, as there are, well, looky here, 2,925 experiments to run. On the other hand, it's going to take a long time before we can run many of those, so I'm okay with hitting buttons myself. I am, however, going to tell this, don't alert me and don't stop me, don't time warp me, don't put up anything and get rid of that window. I'll do everything just based on the checklist window. Because I can look at this and say, well, I could grab this science here, or I could wait until later in the flight when I've got something better. Yeah, we'll make the decisions based on watching here. Now for crew reports, I haven't found a way of transferring crew reports into the storage unit. Let me try one last time to see if I can do that. Okay, so if we do a crew report like that, this is what comes up, and we're going to save it even though it's worth nothing. It says review report, crew report, lights on, so there's no transfer here. I don't have a way of transferring my crew report into the unit, and a subsequent crew report would always be an overwrite. So during any one flight, I may be able to transmit the crew report back. I don't have a radio antenna. If I can transmit the crew report back, then I can repeatedly take them. So let's keep this. And we need to transfer our experiment data into these boxes. Now that's going to be something I have to do quickly. So let's put our Science Junior, containment unit, thermometer, and barometer really close, so I don't have to move my mouse much for that one. Now, because I've done this, these units are no longer usable, so Bob is going to have to go EVA. And there's a handy dandy restore button we can hit, and then he can go back in, and you'll notice that we are back to being able to conduct these experiments again. I can do a crew report and transmit it, get no science at all out, but no usable comms devices. Okay, so I need to add an antenna. Revert flight to vehicle assembly. I thought this might be the case. So 10 minutes in, and I'm back in the vehicle assembly, adding a fripping antenna. Let's going to add a communitron here. Actually, let's add it up on here. Just like that. Good enough. Okay. So we haven't gathered any science. None of that science from the launch pad, except for the material science, was at all important. So we're just going to gather material science and get the buttons out there again. Boom, I'm going to put you here and conduct your study. And keep it. we're going to log that, and he's worth nothing, so we recycle. We're going to log that, and he's worth nothing, so we recycle. And the last one is the goo, which we can observe. And he's worth almost nothing, but we're going to keep that because that's still 0.2 science. Okay, so there's our pinned windows. We're going to pin the window for the experimental storage unit, and we are going to pin the window for the command pod. Just like that. So transfer the data like that. And now we, as before, restore those experiments. We can do that pretty fast. So I can even do an EVA when I'm in atmosphere, we've got wind going by, as long as it's not too fast. It's kind of a risk, but you know, Bob knew the job was dangerous when he took it. So we have 2 stored data. We look at our checklist over here. We are doing just fine. So as we go up, I'm watching the checklist. I'm going to hit the experiments and transfer them, and then as I do goo and material study, Bob will have to EVA to reset them. I'll have to pick good times for that. So let's do this. Boom. Crew report, EVA report, and materials. So material study, keep experiment, and transfer. I will only, let's do a crew report and see if I can transmit it for full science. Yes, I can. I'm not going to do an EVA report while we are thrusting. And I do need to reset the materials science. Too bad I can't do that from inside the capsule, huh? Okay, crew report. Transmit. Materials study. I want to do a materials study while flying high over Kerbin, but I can't get out of the rocket while this thing's thrusting. The atmosphere is kind of low, so once the rocket thrust goes away, I can get out there and clear it up, get my EVA report, get it back inside, observe again. Let's do this. EVA. So you take an EVA report and transmit it home. And we are going to restore the Science Junior. We are going to conduct a material study, which we're going to keep. And I'm going to get back inside so I can transfer it to here. And then we restore again. And we go back inside. Okay, now at this point, we have ascended into space. So, during all that time, we keep moving, so we keep getting science to do. Oops, I forgot. Transfer data, EVA, restore. EVA report is already taken. Now I'm a little concerned here in that we should be pointing up. Program aborted. Oh, I toggled the power off by mistake. We ran out of electric charge. Okay, so revert flight to vehicle assembly. This is what I get for doing the mission live the first time. I have not pre-run this mission. So I need to add some power to this guy. What have we got for power? We have rechargeable battery packs. Let's add 4 of them. In fact, I'm going to add them right at the base of the control capsule. And because I'm a stinking cheater, I'm going to clip them in. And we're going to go 4 wide. And actually, can I... So I can't turn it by 45 degrees. Oh well. Let's go 6. Oh, I may not have enough part budget for this. Hold on. What's my budget? I have plenty of part budget. Good. So I'm going to put on 6 batteries, just like that. Clip it back together. Make sure we've got our scientist in control, and we do it all again. So, our rewind. This is the new start of the stream. We're rolling out onto the launch pad. We have this modified rocket. We have a whole bunch of science we can do, and we need to get pinned windows up for all of our science that we want to do. Pin you, observe you. Mainly I want to observe the mystery goo so I can see how big the window grows. Barometer. And we'll start out with some 0 science guys, that's okay. And thermometer. Just like that. So we have power, we have antenna. Now probably what happened was we have a limited amount of power in the capsule. When I radioed my crew report back, I probably ate through all that power. So transfer. And all of these, I want these close so that I can quickly transfer the data like that. Let's keep track of our storage unit and keep track of our capsule. There we go. And now Bob EVAs, and we hit the restore button on the one we did. Oops. There's mystery go. We need to put the 2 that we're restoring. Well, yeah, let's put them side by side up here. There. And we are done. It's too bad I can't, when I do a save, it doesn't save all of the user interface stuff that I've laid out. Ready to try this again. So, going to be moving fast again, so here goes. So, crew report radioed in. I don't EVA under power. Material study. Keep it and transfer it. Okay, watching for the next one to come up. We'll do an EVA report when we step outside after the engines stop. But that's, I think, going to be our next thing. So I probably didn't need to use the bigger engine on top. I probably could have kept the original configuration in terms of engines. Because our apoapsis was like 160. Okay, so crew report, radio. Wait for that to finish. EVA report. We radio that in. We restore the Science Junior. And now we have material science we can do. We keep. We transfer. And I EVA so I can restore the Science Junior. And we are ready to go. And I got that all done before we hit space. So you focus and you move quickly and you end up piling up a whole bunch of science here. You notice I haven't worried about barometers and thermometers because we already have those, but there's material science I just missed. Well, didn't miss, but almost missed. Transfer, EVA, and restore, and in. So that covers all of our stuff in space near Kerbin. EVA reports in space per biome. So you send up somebody in a polar orbit and you can collect a huge load of science. I'm going to need to get some more coffee soon. So we are 20 minutes into this, and I'm hoping I can finish this within my half-hour target for these videos. Just for funsies, what is going on with my console? There should be nothing on the terminal. Yep. So I say hello at the beginning of the mission. I actually print out the name of the script. The script has that hard-coded in it, so I know which script is running. If I just put the ship name in there, I wouldn't know whether I was running the ship script or the script in its parent directory or the script in the library or whatever. So there we go. So if I'm thinking in terms of using this vessel class / something or other, what I'll start doing is just always start them with the thing /a, so I can think in terms of if I build a configuration, I'm going to have modified versions for subsequent missions, and I can do A, B, C, and so on. I can have common things for that series in its series directory. If I find things that are likely to be common from flight to flight and not common with others, for Longingly Awful Trip, that's the entire code is common. If I had to make a small modification for the B configuration and use most of the rest of it, I'd have to reorganize that script a bit. So we'll have to think in those terms if I start building rockets that I know I'm going to have an A and a B and a C and so on. So we're heading downward. I am actually a little bit nervous about my mass and whether my parachute is going to be able to slow us down, and in fact whether we're going to be slow enough during descent to actually open the parachute. This is another reason why I like to pre-run these missions and debug the whole thing, including the mission automation and the mission safety, before I do a stream. So yeah, running this stream live may not have been the best thing in the world, but let's say that this is just here to give an insight as to what is going on when I am building a mission for the first time. So we are back in the atmosphere. We're flying high. The atmosphere goes up to 70 kilometers. I remember I spent most of my time working with KSP where the atmosphere was 69,000 some weird number because they decided on an atmospheric density and ran the numbers, and that's where it computed some threshold. So instead now it's a nice round number. Your atmosphere ends at 70 km. Now, I don't know if that's just because they've said we're going to say it's 70 and all the math is the same or not, but I'm not going to think about the 69,000 whatever number. You could set it to 69,420 meters, and I'm sure all these idiots on the internet would go wild over, ooh, nice numbers, 69, 420, ooh, sex and drug jokes. Yeah, give me a break. At some point, if you get old enough, sex jokes and drug jokes just, they're not inherently funny because it's a reference to sex or drugs. It requires some actual humor. Just my opinion. Okay, so EVA report flying low over Kerbin's water. I can get that once the shoot... Oh, I can get it right now, actually. No, I can't. Can he pop his chute? Bob, where's your chute? Fuck. I have to do this all over again. Okay, so I'm going to cut the stream. I will go succeed at this mission even if it takes me several hours. But you've seen what I'm trying to do and where I'm trying to go with it and the changes that I've made, and that's the important part. The hope is that we will get a whole bunch of science out of this, and the next step I won't show because it's just cobbling together a aircraft that has all the science but no wings and jetting around the Space Center. I may do a quickie on that as a retrospective after it's done. So when we come back, I will have finished this mission without, This guy is supposed to have a parachute. He's supposed to be able to... Let me see if I can get him to pop his personal chute. No, he can't. He's got a chute on. Why isn't he able to use it? I have seen a pop-up for parachute on these guys. Anyway, revert flight to vehicle assembly, and I will stream again later. But yeah, that's Longingly Awful Trip B, first try, and we'll come back when I've succeeded.